There's so many transfer options for double game week 34, I'm going to use both of my free transfers to try and make the most of them. There isn't much time between both game weeks, so let's get straight into it. Building from the back, of course I'm going to start my double game week keeper. That's Steele against Wolves at home and United at home, whilst my backup keeper's only got one fixture, and that's a difficult one against Arsenal at the Emirates. I managed to squeeze 10 points out of Steele last game week, and pardon the pun, that was a steal. I was absolutely lucky there, and I still think he's the best goalkeeper to own going forward. I think it's highly likely that he keeps his spot in that Brighton side. He is only 3.9 mil, and Brighton have got the most double game weeks remaining with 3. He's probably going to be the highest points per million scoring player in the game. If you're looking for a new goalkeeper and you've already got a Brighton triple up that doesn't include Steele, I'd either go for Ederson or De Gea. That's because City and United have the most double game weeks left this season. You really want to get the most fixtures because it usually means more points. Moving on to the back line, at the moment I have a Newcastle defensive double up of Trippier and Botman, but they've only got one fixture against Southampton at home. I've got Shaw with a double game week against Villa at home and Brighton away. Then on the bench, I've got Henry against Forest at home and Chilwell against Arsenal away. This is how my defence would line up if I couldn't make any free transfers, but of course I'm going to use 2 of them, and one is going to be used on one of my defenders. Obviously I'm not going to sell Shaw because he's my best defender this game week. I won't be selling Trippier this game week, still a good option going forward, and to be honest with you, I'm actually going to play him this game week. He's my second favourite defender, so when I sell that other defender, Botman will move to the bench. So now you know Botman's moving to the bench, you also now know that I won't be selling him, which implies that I will be selling either Henry or Chilwell. If I was only using one free transfer, I'd either do Chilwell to Diaz or Henry to Konate. The best thing is I've got 2 free transfers, so I'm not limited to that. As much as I like Chilwell bringing in a better option because he does sell for more money, I do have plans to start him in game week 35 against Bournemouth away, game week 36 against Forest at home, and then in double game week 37 where he's got 2 fixtures. I know Chelsea have been bad for a while, but I think most of the problems lie in attack. They've not got a forward to put the chances away, and like I've always said on Twitter, they're underperforming their underlying stats in terms of in front of goal, and that's really letting the team down. The midfield's looking strong this game week. Each player's got 2 fixtures in the double. I've got a United double up of Rashford and Bruno. They face Villa at home and Brighton away. If I couldn't pick Salah or Haaland for captaincy this game week, I would be lumping on Rashford. If you owned Bruno last game week, I hope you took my advice and kept him. He's looking extremely favourable now with 2 double game weeks. And if you started him like me, he managed to get an assist. An unbelievable fact for you is that Bruno's never missed a game in his professional career due to injury. Anyway, next to him are my Brighton duo, March and McAllister. I'm quite happy owning March. As for McAllister, yeah, he's got the penalty duties, but he's been playing in a deeper role recently, and I really hope that doesn't continue. If it does, I would rather have Matoma in my team, but I don't think it's worth making that free transfer. I know there's plenty of games left for Brighton, there's 3 double game weeks, plus you've got the extra 5 fixtures as well, but I wouldn't want to set myself back on a free transfer. That's because it probably would result in a -4 elsewhere in my team, plus he could move back to that number 10 position. The final midfielder is Salah. He's got 2 favourable fixtures. Spurs have been conceding a lot of goals recently, and Fulham are on the beach, and they are both home fixtures. With both matches being at Anfield, he is in the running for captaincy. We'll move on to the forward line so we can discuss captaincy a little bit more. My only forward with 2 fixtures is of course Haaland against Fulham away and West Ham at home. Isak faces Southampton at home. He's got unreliable expected minutes, but to be fair, I don't have much choice in starting him, and he's got a high ceiling. He definitely won't be leaving my team. He's got a double in game week 36 where only 2 teams double, Newcastle and Brighton, and he's at the top of my captaincy matrix. Watkins is on the bench against United away. Not only is that a difficult fixture, Villa don't have any double game weeks left this season, so I will actually be selling him. Before I reveal my transfers, I'll discuss captaincy like I said I would. The recency bias could kick in after last game week and tell you that you have to captain Haaland, no one else is worth considering, and that's not the case. There is a chance he could see reduced minutes because City have got 4 fixtures in 9 days. But to be fair, even with that considered, I've had a look at the data and he does edge it. I'll just touch up on the points projections. So on FPL review, with the expected minutes considered, Haaland's 0.1 ahead of Salah. On Fantasy Football Fix, Haaland's a full point ahead of Salah, but on Fantasy Football Scout, Salah's a full point ahead of Haaland, so it's extremely tight. Based on what Haaland's been doing this season, I do think he is the best captain this game week. We know what he's capable of, so I think he's got a high ceiling. Now for the 2 free transfers. There are about 8 different combinations that are considered, but I managed to narrow it down to 2 of my favourites. The first one that I considered was Watkins to Jota and Chilwell to Konate. This leaves me with no money in the bank, so I would have to make this transfer on Friday night probably, unless there's no price difference. One thing that I really like about this combination is that it brings in a double game week player in defence and in attack, so I'll have 10 double game week players. The only problem is, Jota's expected minutes aren't safe for the long run, and to be fair, as for Konate, he's not nailed either. I also don't like how it leaves no money in the bank for flexibility. Also, like I mentioned earlier on in the video, I plan on starting Chilwell in game week 35, game week 36 and double game week 37. Now there is another transfer that I prefer, and I will explain why. It's Henry to Trent. Obviously there's a big price difference, but to fund that I'd have to downgrade Watkins to Greenwood from Leeds, and I've had a look at the fixtures going forward and all the players that have got an attack. I don't think I'm going to need that 8th attacker. This transfer combination leaves 0.9 mil in the bank, so I've got more flexibility going into double game week 37. A drawback of this compared to the other 2 free transfers is that I get 1 less double game week player, but at least Trent is nailed, the other 2 players aren't. Another benefit for Trent is that if you look at his heat maps lately, he's technically been playing out of position as a midfielder, especially if you look at his underlying stats as well. And to be fair, I get the same amount of double game week players technically anyway, although I won't be bringing in 2 this game week. I won't be selling Chilwell, he'll have a double in game week 37. For more videos like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already.